February has been a down month for a lot of markets across the board. If we look at the S&P, for example, we're sitting at a 5% pullback for the month of February. And even worse than that, Bitcoin is down 20% just in this month alone. The purpose of this video is not to highlight the crashes going on in financial markets, but more importantly, to highlight how market neutral trading strategies can be. In fact, I'm going to go over 9 different trading strategies and just look at their performance for the month of February and how they did in comparison to the S&P 500 and Bitcoin and other traditional assets that have taken a hit. Enough rambling, let's look at the data. This is Nurp's MyFX book, and this is a third-party verifier that will track your trading performance. And as you can see, this one is attached to all of their different strategies. First up in line, we have the Dalio Bot. If you guys are not familiar with the Dalio Bot, I've been tracking a $9,000 Dalio Bot that is now at $16,000. If you're interested in that journey and how it's been performing, check out my previous videos on that. Looking at Nurp's Dalio Bot, so far it's done a 37% gain since it started back in July 30th of 2024. Now, I want to track just how it did for the month of February. So what I'm going to do here, put custom dates in for the month of February so we could track just February's performance. Overall, the account's done amazing. As you saw, it did over 30%. The only thing I'm interested in is how it did in comparison to other assets that people would typically hold, like Bitcoin. For the month of February, it did a 2% gain. Its max drawdown that it experienced was 1.19%, and it gave us a total profit for the month of February at $1,100. And if we scroll down, it took 148 trades, and its profit factor is a 4 of 7. And if you don't know what profit factor is, it is how many times the gross profit, or the sum of all winning trades, exceeds the gross loss or sum of all losing trades. The higher the value, the better. In layman terms, for every dollar it loses, in this case, it gains 4. And there it is, February, 2% gain. Let's pop over to one of the most known softwares, which is the FedBot. This account has done 24% since its inception, but that's not what we're looking at. We just want to see the month of February. For the month of February, this account did 2.38%, and its max drawdown is 1.19%. It gave us a total profit of $2,391. The account size is sitting at $102,000. If we scroll down to see how many trades it took during this period, it took 267 trades with a profit factor of 2.24. It beat the Dalio by less than 1%. Now, if we look at the Fed coupled with the gold trading software, which is something very interesting because it's what I did to my Dalio Bot. I now trade on a single account, the Dalio trading software with the Gold Digger trading software. And since doing that, it has dramatically enhanced my account's performance and has allowed me to grow much faster than I intended. As you can see, it's doing the same exact thing on the Fed plus Gold account. In my own personal experience, it's increased my performance because when we just looked at the Fed, it did a 2.3% gain. Now looking at it with Gold, it's done a 5.27% gain for the month of February. And its max drawdown was 3.48%. This gave us a total profit for February of $2,928. The account size is sitting at $58,467. In this time period, the profit factor is at 2.06, and the amount of trades it's taken was 259. Its profitability is 88%, so it only lost 12% of its trades. This Yellen account has done 188% since it started back in 2023. And in the month of February, it's done 1.73% so far, sitting at the lowest performer out of the accounts we've tracked so far. Its max monthly drawdown was 1.22%, and its total profit for the month was $933. During this time, it's done 493 trades, and its profit factor is sitting at 2, and its profitability is 82%, meaning it lost 18% of its trades. Next up, we have Dalio plus Gold, which is exactly what I'm running in my own account, and it has been doing amazing things. Unfortunately for this one, it hasn't been the best, but still really good. It's done 1.70% gain, but its max drawdown this month was 4.29%. The total profit for the month is $1,162. During this time period, it's taken 74 trades with a profit factor of 1.45, and its profitability is sitting at 73%, so we lost 27% of the trades, which is quite surprising because I think mine did a little bit better than this one. Since we're on the topic of this Gold Digger, let's look at how it did independently. This thing is a beast. Since it started back in 2023, it has done 592%, but it did not come without volatility. As you can see, 49% max drawdown. So at one point since 2023, this account has almost seen a 50% haircut. Luckily, it's software and nothing closed out and took a loss. It bounced right back. But if this was a human, most likely you would have panicked and taken the loss. It's done a total profit of $38,000, but those percents are not what we're looking at. We're trying to look at what February did. For the month of February, this is probably the best performer that I've seen so far. It's done 2.47%. But the interesting thing is, its max drawdown that it experienced is only 0.11%, which is absolutely nothing in comparison to the monthly gain that it had. It's done a profit of $927. This account size is only 30,000, and in fact, this account has taken out its initial more than once. The profit factor is actually unreadable because if I look at the profitability, it's won 100% of its trades this month. Where else can this be done? 100% profitability. It took 26 trades and not one of them were a loss. That is madness. And it closed the month at 2.47%. Now looking at Argos, again, I funded $100,000 in this Argos account. And if you haven't seen it, check out the channel and watch the videos in which I'm talking about the 100K account. That is using the Argos software, which you can track and see how well my own personal account has been doing. This account has done 225% growth since March of 2023. But we're not looking at that. I just had to point it out because it is too big to not. We just want to see what it did in February. In February, this account did 4.36%, and its max drawdown that it experienced was 3.37%. This is a total profit of $78,000. And if we scroll down, it took a total of 1,298 trades. Let that sink in for a moment. If you are a manual trader or you're somebody that's actively investing, there is no way humanly possible that you can execute on over 1,000 trades. This is why leveraging a software like this can be so monumental to how much growth you can experience in your own trading strategies. Because even if you're taking trades, having something else coupled with your strategy that can do over 1,000 trades in a single month is going to make all the difference in how you perform. And with a profit factor at 1.53, it's looking extremely good. Its profitability is 69%, so it lost 31% of its trades. And looking at Argos, it's one of Nurp's newest additions to their softwares in which they provide. And they completely changed the game with it because it uses machine learning to make predictive models and use that as the reason why it takes trades. So it's always evolving and it's always changing to current market conditions. This is the Nurp website. One thing I like about Argos is how it manages risk. It has an overall stop on the entire equity inside the account at about 30%. And then it has sub levels of risk management. And then it takes it a bit further. So for each trade, there is also a stop loss at 3.78% to 5%. So if you're away and you're not able to be tentative or monitor your software and markets go absolutely crazy for some reason, you can rest assured that with the stop losses in place and the way that it is built in Argos, you won't lose your entire account. Next up in line with Nurp's new rollout is Odyssey. And this one looks to be the most promising. Reason being is because you could actually license this software in a US broker. Most softwares you have to do overseas because a lot of brokers don't allow it. And also softwares need X amount of leverage for them to operate appropriately. But this one doesn't need as much leverage. As you can see at the top, it says 1 to 50. Most softwares out there on the market want a 1 to 500 or at least a 1 to 200 at best. But this one doesn't need that in order to function. And it's done 493% since it started back in July 26 of 2022. And its max drawdown since 2022 that it ever experienced in the account was 4.9%. So it's never even experienced more than a 5% drawdown on the account at any given moment. But anyways, I don't want to ramble on too much about that one because I get really excited about it. Let's just see how it did in the month of February. So ironically, as much as I hyped it up, it is the lowest performer for the month of February across all of the softwares that we just looked at so far. It's done 0.08%, which is basically minuscule, but relative to its account size, it is still a good chunk of change, sitting at $2,385 in profit. The account is $2.8 million. Its max drawdown was 0.65%. Looking at its profitability, it's won 58% of its trades and it's lost 42%. Its profit factor is sitting at 1.18, and the amount of trades it's taken in this month is 151 trades. And last but not least, we have the Buterin. Now, the Buterin is interesting because it solely trades Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I think it's quite ironic that I decided to wear a Bitcoin shirt today. If you are watching the crypto markets, you're probably looking at Bitcoin and it's a complete bloodbath. So it'll be extremely interesting to see how this software has done. Meanwhile, the entire crypto market is hemorrhaging. Oh, and look, I just got an email. So this email right here is showing when trades are being executed. So I'm always notified. In fact, I just got the notification on my phone that's on Euro AUD, which is great because when I'm out, in fact, I was just in the Virgin Islands and I was getting all these notifications, all the trades that it's happening. And it makes me feel comforted knowing that someone's working for me, or at least a robot's working for me while I'm actually out and about enjoying myself, but my portfolio is still being super active. In my own personal account, I did several percent last month. Meanwhile, I didn't do anything for it. Enough of that side quest, back to the point. So it looks like this thing got itself in a bit of trouble here, sitting at a 24% loss for the month of February, and its max drawdown was 29%. So with Bitcoin taking a beating, this thing has actually also taken a beating alongside of it. This account has lost $280,000. Scrolling down, it took 128 trades with a profit factor at just 0.59%. Its profitability is 42%, so it lost 58% of its trades. Now, I know that looks scary, but if I was to zoom back out to how well it's performed since September of 2023, it's done 250%. So in hindsight, a 24% is not the worst thing considering how well it's done. It still has made over $600,000 in profit. If you like software like this and you're interested, the description has a link for you, and also the pinned comment if you wanted to speak to someone directly on the phone. But if you never want to miss out on everything trading and finance related, hit the subscribe, and like always, my friends, peace.